Politicians are like, they're like criminals in Batman comics. They're a superstitious, cowardly lot. And the minute that they know that they are going to lose elections because they are spending too much money, they will find their inner cheapskate and they'll start coming down.
Would you consider the post-World War II deficit reduction austerity? And is that what is required right now? And if so, how do you think the country is going to react? And will it be similar to what's going on with the protests in parts of Europe like Greece?
Yeah, this is also an interesting debate about austerity measures. And austerity, which is best understood as an attempt to reduce debt to GDP ratio. There are different ways you can do it. You can do it by cutting spending. You can do it by raising taxes. You can do it by a mix of the two. A lot of people have said, look, in places like Greece and places like England, austerity has been tried. They've cut spending by massive amounts. And it just hasn't worked. They're worse off than ever. When you look at virtually any of those, actually, when you look at all of those cases, the fact of the matter is that spending has not been reduced. Taxes have gone up. And that's, that is, austerity is generally, it gets pilloried as cutting social services to the bone and giving tax breaks to the rich. In fact, austerity, as it's been practiced in most places, is just hiking taxes and keeping spending constant or actually increasing. And then when you look at countries that have recently done differently, and this includes places like Canada in the 90s, Sweden has done this, New Zealand has done this, all within recent memory, when they cut spending, and typically they would cut spending by about, for every dollar in new revenue they might raise through taxes, they cut spending by like $6 or more. And their economies right-sized very quickly and everybody was better off. Public employees do not rule the world. I mean, sometimes it feels that way, and most politicians think that. But the fact is that there are more people who are on the short end of this stick, and that actually can change if we start pushing this. And again, one of the things, I'm sure a lot of you were taught growing up, well, if you have to get a civil service job because the pay is no good, but you have decent job security and you get good benefits. What has happened over the past few years as finances have gotten tough and more data has been kind of dug through and everything, is that people now realize that that's wrong, because actually you have great job security, you have an absolute Cadillac plan for benefits for healthcare and retirement, and you get paid more than your private sector analog. And that's pissing people off, and that's one of the reasons why people like Scott Walker in Wisconsin is able to actually not only take on public sector compensation, but actually win recall elections. So I don't know how many of you have either been bankrupt or extremely poor at various points where, it takes you a while to realize, like when you're out of money, that you can't keep doing everything that you've been doing. And that, I think, we're still in this phase where we're still fully kind of grokking the idea that we are broke and we have to change our spending almost immediately. I do think that you're starting to see, the canaries in the coal mine are cities that are going bankrupt that Julian and Adrian talked a bit about. Places like Harrisburg, the credit ratings on a bunch of states as well as on the federal government have gone down. So the early signs are there, but at a certain point, this is one of the problems with credit crunches and with bankruptcies and things like that. Everything is okay until suddenly it isn't. And this, as much as anything, is these are Cassandra calls to stop before it's really totally irredeemable.